Morning, guys. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. Just got up and put all the dogs in their kennels and fed the puppies and a bunch of little chores that you do in the morning time. And one of the things I do is potty breaks when I go out in the morning. A lot of times I'll let Joker go out with the puppies. And I do one at a time. I don't want him to be overwhelmed so much that he can't do his thing. But each one of the Dante and Rocco both have personality traits that you can see that he has some affinity to. With Dante, he's a lot more cuffs him and puts him in his place and doesn't like. And Dante doesn't quit. He just keeps coming in up on him. And he's learning slow but sure. But the reason I mention this with this interaction with strong dog, weak dog, right? Joker is very good with the puppies. I can actually walk him through, tell him exactly what I want him to do, what I don't want him to do, be easy on the puppy, not knock it off, that kind of thing, and put him in his place and check him. And he understands what I'm trying to get across to him. And then he also has a sense and a feeling of the fact what he's doing, that he's there to mentor those puppies. And he knows that with the way I treat him. I've created a mentor dog, and that's a good mentor dog is worth their weight in gold. Okay, if you get a good dog that's a mentor dog, you have dogs with reactivity, have other problems. You can bring that dog in that's having those problems, and this other dog will help them work their way through it. You want a neutral dog, you get a dog like Joker, I can talk him into being neutral, easy, that kind of thing. And he'll be totally neutral because I'm on top of him, with my voice tone and my attitude. And you can get what you need to out of a good mentor dog. With the mentorship that Joker's given the puppies, he's giving them strength. I'll get him to, like with Dante's on him so much, and I don't want him cuffing him and just totally, getting mad and, putting him in his place to that degree. So I make him go, and I make him run. Okay, and that running is what gets him away from the puppy, and now he starts to realize the answer is that I can stay in front of the puppy and stay in front of him. So that's what he does. He runs out in front, and then he'll stop and want to take a piss, and then Dante will go over and harass him a little bit. I just did a video. I'll post it in a bit. But my point is that strong dog, weak dog is a gold mine, okay? A good mentor dog. A dog is neutral that you can get to work with your puppies. A good female mentor dog's fine. I usually always have males, but that's neither here nor there. It's a matter of how you, as a person that has an ability to communicate with your dogs and is using them as a tool for the pack interplay, right, can make that dog an asset. A mentor dog is, like I said, is worth his weight in gold. I used to have a lab pity mix by the name of, what the heck was his name? I gave him to a good customer, a friend of mine, to get him home. I can't remember. I had him doing bang, you're dead. He'd stand up and then bang, you're dead. He'd drop down and roll over. I taught him that trick. It was a cool trick. I'll have to do that one again with another good dog. But it's cool when you get a dog that'll work with you like that. But he was a great mentor dog. He was excellent. And I heard he ended up having problems with this guy's male because people don't know how to interact with their dogs, and they let him, and he had a fighting problem. What do you think? The dog is a pit bull mix, and you've got to be able to communicate and keep your thumb down on him and understand how to work with your pack, right? You are the pack leader. You have that ability with a pack to be able to orchestrate and to get the dogs to do what you need to within the pack, But if you're not a strong pack leader and you don't know what you're doing with dog instincts and all that, you're going to run into a problem. Well, he started calling me up, and the dogs were fighting like I'm going to save the world. The heck am I going to do for you, dude? Give you lessons and not have you pay me for them. So it is what it is. But that pack interplay is a godsend. Now, yesterday, this is what I wanted to do this Yack session for. I wanted to kind of go over some of the videos I've done over the last week or so. Yesterday, we had a video where I'm starting to show you how I'm dealing with Eros and bringing his hold. And I mentioned, look at the dog, look at what he's showing you, the picture that he's showing you. And the word that I should have used as I watched that back and realized is emotional energy. Okay, emotional energy is what you're trying to get out of the dog, that gives you a certain amount of emotional energy so that it looks good out on the field. Okay, that's what I was trying to explain to you. Now, the one thing that made me, and I'm analyzing this back and kind of going through it in my Rolodex, that I don't have the ability to do when I'm on film because I'm sitting here yakking at you guys. Now my intellect comes into it, and I'm trying to explain things and use words and say things to you to communicate what I'm doing, and I lose my feel. If I'm working with a dog by myself and I'm not playing to the camera, I'm not talking to the camera, I'm not trying to work with you guys as far as educating you. When I do that and I can get in tune with the animal, there's a whole different picture because now I have my emotional energy going to the dog. Okay, and that emotional energy is what makes me as good as I am. To be able to bring out in the animal what I need to is an art. Okay, and that comes from a place in my gut that's emotional energy, right? That I know how to give the dog, so that the dog gives me back what I need in the training, right? So this whole thing going here. Excuse me, I'm trying to make some tea here in the morning. So emotional energy is what that's all about, right? And that ability is taken away when I'm sitting there talking to a camera, because now my intellect is on you. I'm trying to use verbalization and words and try to get you to understand what I'm doing. That's why one of them, a good friend of mine that comes over and films me, I'd like to get him up here so I can try to get myself in tune with what I'm doing and let him do his job to film, and then I won't have to worry about the camera so much. We've got to sit there and worry about where I'm at on the camera, so I've always got to find my camera set and get in the right place. It's a pain in the ass, right? So, that's kind of what we were going over with Eros, and I'm slowly putting the pieces of that puzzle together. And if you watch that video, you start to see how many little pieces am I. The dog's at my side. I want to get the dog to do that back alley reward placement, because that keeps the dog's heads at you, and then he starts to anticipate. Buddy's got that in him. Buddy's got all these reward placements in him, and I've got to find myself to be able to do the reward placements in such a way that you see that a little bit better too, as far as Buddy, and you see the finished product versus Eros, right? And then the energy state with the Dutch Shepherd and what Buddy gives me in that regards is just over the top. I've always got to worry about trying to figure out how to make sure I don't let his drive levels go up to a point, because then he starts double hopping, and you'll get dogs like Oscar Moro really impressed the hell out of me. He has a dog by the name of Guapo, and he goes out and does the Schutzen, and he's got that dog dialed in to a T. That dog is just an awesome dog. He's done a great job with him. But he had a time period that he was in, and every now and then you'll see it crop up with Guapo, where Guapo was starting to really get into it, and Buddy's doing this too, where he was whining. And that leaking, right? That leaking of behavior. And he was having a hard time with it because Guapo was wanting to go after the decoy, and he's getting wound up. There's his reward, and he wants to go do his job. So that whole thing of leaking is it's mentioned again and again and again, because so many people have problems with it, and it's not an easy thing. The biggest thing that I tell people in regards to leaking is I always make sure that they understand that they don't want to even let it get started. If it gets started, right away check it as quick as you can, and make sure you get some kind of pattern or some kind of routine within your process, that you're checking the dog and you're staying away from this emotional plane that's starting to get to the point where he's leaking. Because once it starts, it's hard in hell to control. And a lot of people don't realize it, and they let it happen, and then let it happen again, and pretty soon the dog escalates. It just keeps winding up day after day of you working the dog, and with those hours and hours, you're trying to get ready to get the dog for a BH, and then going through the whole process of getting into competitive sports, and you didn't put it in check and with a strong dog or a dog that's got those drives. It gets to be tough. It gets to be real tough. So the biggest suggestion that I can give to you, be aware of it, and make sure you don't ever let it get started, right? Keep it checked as soon as you can, and don't let it get even going, because it's not an easy thing, even for those that are really good at it. It's like Oscar says, have you ever looked at it, Oscar? You ever figured out how you could get it to solve it? He goes, if I could, I could be a millionaire. In other words, if he could go out and do seminars and knew exactly what he needed to do to solve that overall problem, he'd be a millionaire. But it's so complex. There's so many different facets to it, and you can get an understanding of it and get an understanding overall in regards to it, but try to be the master of it, the Swami that has that answer. like Oscar says, he could be a millionaire. Very true. So I think that's about it for my little yak session this morning. But keep an eye on what I'm doing and kind of try to step back from it a little bit and think about it. One of the things I'm not able to give you on film, when I was trying to mention to you, is basically that emotional energy that I can give when I'm not sitting there trying to intellectually talk to the camera, and keep myself in that little square and all that. That takes a certain intellect that I need to have, that I don't need to have when I'm not on camera, that I can give more emotional energy to the dog. That's why I'm going to drop out with Eros and start concentrating on him, and put the film on the back burner, and I'll come back when it's a finished product or a more finished product, and then I'll show you what we got. So now you know how we start it, how we build it. You got a certain concept of it. When I come back, you'll say, now I get it, right? Because there's a lot of hours that go into fulfilling that overall product that we're trying to achieve. What are we trying to achieve? The picture, that emotional energy that I'm looking for in the dog. That's the whole key. That's what, when you see, again, back to Oscar, when you see Guapo and Oscar out there, Guapo has got that emotional energy. You know, his locomotion is perfect. He's right where he needs to be. All that exactness that's within the sport of IGP, IPO, Schutzen, whatever they're calling it this year. I'll still call it Schutzen. I started back in the 70s when it first came over here, calling it Schutzen. So I won't ever be able to get that out of my head. I'll be doing that all the time. But I know it's IGP or IPO or what the hell it is. I know they're calling it something else this year. So that's about it. I'll let you guys go. Have a good day. I thank you very much for listening to my yakking once again. And you guys have a good day, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you much. Bye-bye. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training.